Some sports are older than the countries that play them. This one is older than most countries. 3,000 years ago, before Rome, before Ireland had written history, men were already swinging a stick of ash at a leather ball on Irish grass. They still are. So here's the short answer to what hurling actually is. It is the oldest field sport on earth and the fastest game played on grass. A ball that flies at 150 kilometers an hour. Players with no helmets for most of its history, no pay for all of it. A game that survived invasion, famine, and outright bans by the most powerful empire in the world. And this week, 80,000 people will pack into a stadium in Dublin for a final played by men who will get up for work on Monday morning. I'm Tige. Let's open the vault on the game they couldn't kill. To understand hurling, you don't start with sport, you start with myth. The oldest stories Ireland has, tales written down by monks over 1,000 years ago describing things far older, already talk about hurling. It appears in the Brehon laws, Ireland's ancient legal system, which set out compensation for injuries on the hurling field. Think about that. Hurling is so old. It's in the law books of a civilization that no longer exists. And then there's the boy. The greatest hero in all of Irish mythology is a warrior called Cúchulainn. But he wasn't born with that name. He was born Ta. The story goes that as a boy, traveling alone to the king's court, he shortened the journey by hitting a ball with his hurley and racing ahead to catch it before it landed. When a monstrous guard dog attacked him at a feast, the boy drove the ball down the hound's throat with one strike and killed it. The hound belonged to a smith named Cúchulainn, and so the boy took a new name in payment, the Hound of Cúchulainn. Cúchulainn. Ireland's greatest hero earned his name with a hurley in his hand. That's what hurling is to Ireland, not a game that Ireland plays, a game that Ireland is. Which is exactly why, when the invaders came, they tried to ban it. 1367, the Statutes of Kilkenny, a set of laws passed by the English colonial authorities in Ireland designed to stop English settlers from becoming, in their words, more Irish than the Irish themselves. The laws banned intermarriage with the Irish, banned the Irish language among settlers, and banned, specifically by name, the game of hurling. Let that sink in. 700 years ago, hurling was already considered so central to Irish identity that outlawing Ireland meant outlawing the game. It didn't work. It never worked. Through the centuries that followed, through conquest, through the penal laws that stripped Catholics of land and rights, through every attempt to make Ireland less Irish, the game kept being played in fields, on beaches, between parishes, sometimes with hundreds of men aside, matches that lasted from morning to dark. Landlords occasionally sponsored great matches. The authorities occasionally suppressed them, and the game simply continued, passed from father to son like a surname, too old to kill, too loved to forget. But by the 1800s, hurling was in genuine danger, not from banning this time, but from starvation. The Great Hunger of the 1840s emptied the countryside. 1 million dead, 2 million gone across the sea. The parishes that had played hurling for centuries were suddenly half empty, and the game withered with them. By the 1880s, hurling survived in scattered pockets, a dying tradition in a demoralized country. And then, in a hotel billiard room in Thurles, County Tipperary, On the 1st of November, 1884, 7 men sat down and changed everything. Led by a Clare school teacher named Michael Cusack, they founded the Gaelic Athletic Association, the GAA. Its mission was bigger than sport. This was the age of the Irish cultural revival. The same movement trying to save the Irish language, the same energy that would one day feed a rising. If you've seen our video on 1916, you already know this story's cousins. The Gaelic League saved the words. The Abbey Theatre saved the stories. The GAA saved the games. It standardized the rules. It organized the parishes into clubs, the clubs into counties. It made the game a statement. To play hurling was to be Irish, deliberately, proudly, at a time when the establishment preferred you'd be anything else. And the GAA didn't hide what it was. For decades, its rules banned members from playing what it called foreign games: soccer, rugby, cricket. British soldiers and police were barred from membership entirely. You can debate those rules. Ireland still does, but understand what they were: a cultural fortress built by a people who had watched everything else taken. Sport in Ireland has never been just sport. The proof of that came on one terrible afternoon in 1920, when British forces opened fire on the crowd at a Gaelic football match in Croke Park, killing 14 people. That story deserves its own episode, and it will get one. For now, know only this: the GAA's home ground is also one of Ireland's sacred places. When 80,000 people stand there on final day, they're standing somewhere history happened. So, what is this game that all of this was for? 15 players aside, a stick of ash called a hurley, in Irish, a command, a small leather ball called a schlitter. You can catch it, strike it from the hand or the ground, balance it on the stick at full sprint. You can score over the bar for a point or under it, past the keeper, for a goal. They call it the fastest game on grass. Nobody who has watched a final has ever argued. And here is the part that stops outsiders in their tracks. Every one of those players is an amateur. The men who will contest this week's All-Ireland final in front of 80,000 people, teachers, farmers, electricians, they are not paid to play. They never have been. They train like professionals, fill one of the biggest stadiums in Europe on final day, and go to work on Monday. Why? Because in the GAA, you don't sign for a club. You're born into one. You play for your parish, then for your county, for the place your family's from, the colors your grandfather wore. There are no transfers to glory. If your county is small and unfancied, that's your county for life. And it never stayed on the island. Everywhere the Irish went, and after the hunger, they went everywhere. The game went with them. There are GAA clubs today in New York and Boston, London and Birmingham, Sydney and Melbourne, Dubai and Singapore. Every Sunday, on pitches thousands of miles from Tipperary, the children and grandchildren of immigrants pick up a hurley and swing an unbroken line back 3,000 years. If your family left Ireland generations ago, there's a fair chance someone in your line once stood in a field with a hurl in their hands. Some things emigrate. This one did. So, 3,000 years. Banned by statute in 1367, starved nearly to death in the 1840s, revived in a Tipperary hotel room by 7 men and a school teacher. And still, this week, 80,000 people will rise as one. Empires tried to ban it. History tried to bury it. The game outlived them all. Because you can outlaw a language and burn a parliament and take the land itself. But you cannot legislate against a people's joy. Ireland's oldest rebellion was a game. If you want the stories behind this one, the rising the GAA helped feed, the Sunday Croke Park never forgot, and why more than 30 million Americans call themselves Irish, they're all in the vault. Subscribe. There's a lot more they didn't teach you.